Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about what is the difference between copywriting and content writing. So if you have heard these terms thrown around or even used interchangeably, I want to help explain why, what they both mean, and how they compare to each other. So hello, if we haven't met yet, my name is Jessica Johnson, and I have over 15 years of experience in content writing and marketing. I previously led content strategy for global brands inside corporate America. Then I became a freelance writer myself on the outside, getting clients and growing my business to six figures and beyond. And now love to make these videos to bring more people into this world because I think it's one that not everyone realizes is so accessible as a side business, as an income stream, as a business where you could make more than a high paying corporate career, as I found and I was shocked by. So want to just shed some light on this and help with some questions that I hear often that you may have as well. All right, so let's break it down today. What is the difference between copywriting and content writing? So first I want to shed some light, as I mentioned, on what each one is. So copywriting is essentially writing copy or words that help businesses sell their products or services. Content writing is writing copy or words or content that helps a business educate their audience. Now, there is some overlap between these because a business could be writing some educational content with the hopes of one day selling a customer on working with them, right? Like a business is writing content in an educational sense to give tips or best practices or advice or ideas to customers. But they're not just doing it for fun. They're doing it because they want to establish trust with an audience, to provide solutions, and to one day nurture that audience into becoming customers and raving fans. So that's where I think it gets a little bit confusing for people and where I wouldn't sweat it too much. It's just that both of these terms really complement each other and work towards the larger goal of a business being able to offer a product or service that solves someone's challenge. All right, so think about your own buying patterns, and I think this can help you make it more concrete. So let's say that you are a new parent and you're getting excited to welcome your first baby to the world. So you go online and maybe you are looking up things like tips for first-time parents, advice, best practices. You are going to find articles, copy, words online that provide tips, best practices, solutions for you. That is considered content, right? Because that content provides educational information for free, blog posts, articles, social media posts that you can use to gather information. Now, at some point, you might realize that you really love a website or a particular coach or a site on social media, an Instagram account, and you always go back there and you really decide that you would love to work with this particular website or coach at some point because you just really resonate with the content that they put out there. At that point, you might start checking out copy words, right? Copy for a product or service they have, or a course that you could take, or a program that you could take, or a way you could work with that particular coach or business. That's when things start shifting from content over to copy because this really educational content now becomes sales copy that's geared towards you working specifically with that business or person. Okay, and the real thing here is I don't want you to get too hung up on these terms. I actually use these terms interchangeably all the time. I'm not sure that's good or bad, but it's just because other people do as well. And I think it can be confusing to only stay in the lanes of this is technically content, this is technically copy. It's like we're referring to words that a business uses in both cases, right? And some words may be a little bit more sales oriented and some may be a little more education oriented, but I don't want you to feel like if you accidentally say content or you accidentally say copy that you are like messing something up or doing something wrong. I really see a lot of it used interchangeably throughout the industry. And because they work so closely together and complement each other so well, there's really not an issue. I think it's just for you and your own understanding. It can be helpful to know that if you are wondering if there's this big difference between these two terms, copywriting and content writing, that's what people are referring to. That's like the technical, very minute, difference between the two. The copywriting is very geared towards sales and ultimately moving someone towards a product or service and helping them make a buying decision, whereas content is really education focused. It's informative. It may be talking to someone before they're at the point where they're going to go and check out copy to buy. All right, so that is the difference. Now, as a content writer or copywriter, you could work on a little bit of both. It's another reason why they're so interchangeable. When I'm helping a business, I may write a lot of blog posts that are educational, that give tips and tricks and best practices. And then they may also have me write something that directly sells, or that's promoting a new product or service, or launching a program. And so for me, and maybe for you, there's sometimes a mix between the two, and you may dabble in more educational content one day, but then the other day you're working on actual sales copy for an email or a product launch, and so you get to kind of play between both worlds. Now, that can be really fun, in the sense that you always have a new thing to work on, that you get to work your brain in a different way, that you get to talk to an audience at all stages of their journey. So when they're first getting information and figuring something out, to when they've moved further down the funnel, as it's called, the marketing funnel, and they're now thinking about actually making a purchase. Can you specialize in being a copywriter or being a content writer? Absolutely. Just like you could specialize in one format of content, like blog posts or social media or emails, and that's all you could work on all day is that one format. You could also specialize in only doing sales copy, in only doing blog posts, in only doing educational content. But you can either specialize or you can do a mix, and that's really up to you. And there's pros and cons of each. I have a few videos on the difference between niching versus being more of a generalist, and how that impacts your income and rates and ability to find work. So if that's something you're interested in, then you can definitely check that out as well. But that's the difference between copywriting and content writing. If you hear people mention the two of them, you can just think to yourself, sales is copy and education is content. One little trick to remember it is sales is a shorter word than education, and copy is a shorter word than content. So sales is copy and education is content. Again, you will hear people using them, like interchangeably between, conversations all the time, and that's totally fine. And if you do it as well, it's not even a big mess up. The people you're talking to may just do that as well. But I wanted you to have an understanding so that from an educated perspective, you could know that there is a little bit of a difference and what that difference is. Now, let me know in the comments, do you have other questions about this? Is anything still unclear? And I'd be happy to make you another video about it. Would also love to know if this is helpful, and if it is, please like and subscribe, and definitely check out the free resources below where I can go deeper in free trainings, in copywriter starter kits, and in my programs teaching exactly how to build a freelance writing business, whether you prefer the copy or content side. But you'll learn how to get clients and how to scale your business to 6 figures and beyond as well. Thanks so much for being here, and can't wait to see you again next week.